So I want to talk about, I want to discuss this with you today, the importance of action, the importance of action. Nothing defeats action. Nothing defeats action, especially action in the right direction, you know, because the world leading personal development teacher, Jim Rohn, says an octopus on a roller skates, makes a lot of movement, a lot of action, but there's no direction. So action is important, but action in the right direction is critically, emphatically important. So what I'm trying to speak with you about today is doing all you can do. Doing all you can do to the best of your ability. This is in the Bible. It says, do all you can do and leave the rest unto God. So if you close each day, each chapter, knowing you've done 100%, you've given 100% of your ability, you could not do more today. Like today is closed, like a chapter in a book, it's closed. Today is done. You can't go back into it and repeat anything. You're satisfied with that day. If you can do that every single day in whatever field you are, whatever job you are, if you can do that, you are guaranteed success. You are guaranteed success in any field. Because the same Jim Rohn says again, worry comes from doing less than we can. That's where worry comes from. When we know we've done below par, that's where worry comes from. And the word worry comes from a Greek word which says choke. So worry is basically us being choked by when we do less than we can for that day. It means we're choking ourselves. So imagine that you wake up every day to put your hands on your neck and trying to choke yourself. So that's what you basically do when you do less than you can for that day, because you begin to worry about that day. Then you carry that same day's problem to the next day. So this is like multiple carryovers. That's why when I go to universities, I speak to students who have multiple carryovers. I'm like, how do you deal with that? You need to get into a different year with a clear head to focus on the job. What were you doing this last year that you couldn't, finish your study for that year? You have to carry over multiple papers to a new year. And then you think, why you're not doing so well? Why you're not succeeding? Why you're not coming out with a first class? That's because you're carrying yesterday's problem onto today. They say the strongest man could not carry yesterday's problem, today's problem, and succeed. That's because each day has its own bracket, its own limit. You have to do that day the best that's allocated for that day. So do the best you can for that day. When you know you've done the best you can, no procrastination, no putting enough, not carrying to the next day. When you know you've done the best you can, then you could be rest assured the rest will fall in place. God will take control. Or whatever you believe in, the universe is going to take control. So if you believe in God or you do not believe in God, whatever you believe in, just do the best you can to the best of your ability for that day, and leave the rest unto the universe, unto God, unto whatever you believe in. They will take control. But I must emphasize the importance of this action, the importance of doing, the importance of action. They say action brings about reaction. The importance of doing in the right direction. You cannot fold your hands and climb the ladder of success, or put your hands behind your back and climb the ladder of success. They say no one has ever climbed the ladder of success on the back of another man. It's impossible. You have to put your hands out to do the work, to climb up. So whatever you do, you must put your hands out and get ready to work. You cannot fold your hands and only pray. No. Many have resorted to praying just to invade the difficulties of life, the challenges of life. Many seek shelter in praying alone. But you must walk and pray. You must walk and pray. When you walk and then you walk towards it, I emphasizing that again, walking towards something, and then you pray in an addition to that. So that's a double-edged sword now, you're walking towards it on one hand and you're praying towards it again. So for the gap that you cannot fill, God fills that for you. The unseen miracles that comes from doing the best of your ability first, giving your all, saying, God, Lord, the universe, I have given the best of my ability. This is the best I can do. I have learned, I've trained, I have done all I can. You take over. So when you've done the best you can, to the best of your ability, and that's when you start seeing things working in your favor. You start being able to win that contract, get that job, win that sport scholarship, win that university degree. Wherever you put your mind in, you now begin to realize that through your action and faith. It says put yourself in a position where you can accept nothing less than 100% effort towards that day, towards your goal every day, nothing less. So when you've given 100%, you can fall asleep. They said Thomas Edison used to come back from his research lab and just sit on his chair and he would sleep for 5 hours straight, just like that. Middle of the day, he would sleep 5 hours straight with noise or whatever around him, and then he will wake up after 5 hours, return to the lab and become more productive. Why? Because each day he gives more than 100%, and he's rest assured, he has no worry. So when he goes to sleep, he's comfortably asleep. And this is the guy who spends like 1,000 hours, more than 1,000 hours, more than 1,000 tries trying to invent the light bulb that we enjoy today. So you can see someone who tries, 1,000 times to invent one thing. You must reason how many times he thinks, how many times he's practiced. So he got into a state where every day was 100%. And if it doesn't work, he goes back to the drawing board. But because he failed 1,000 times, never stopped him. He kept on trying. And during that process, he slept well because he knew for that day he has given more than he can give. He's given 100%. He couldn't do more for that day. So he slept, closed that day, and focused on another day. So he wasn't carrying yesterday's problem on his back and today's one and the future one. No one strong enough to withstand that load. So he focused on each day and gave 100%. So you've heard me before talk about spending 15 minutes a day to read, 1 hour minimum to think. This means like you still have 5 days a week to yourself. And each day you still have 6 hours, 45 minutes to do as you please. And this is just within 8-hour working day. You still have your 8 hours for sleep and the last 8 hours to do as you please. So you basically just investing 1 hour, 15 minutes in yourself each day. Imagine that. Imagine investing 1 hour, 15 minutes on yourself every day. Those time you spend scrolling, surfing the internet, watching some reality shows, listening some TV shows, spend that 1 hour, 15 minutes on yourself and see what happens. Because those shows you watch today, those TV watching would never add anything to your life. In fact, they take away. In fact, they put you into a place of dependency. In fact, they put you into a place where you want to think and act like those people. You want to become something without any foundation. They stop you from focusing on yourself, but focusing on your environment. Focus more on your mind and your spirit, and less on distractions around you. Focus less on your body, focus on less on your environment. You can always surmount any obstacle by your attitude. That's the first thing, your attitude. How you think about problems changes the problem. How you approach problems changes the problem, regardless. First, you have to detach yourself from that obstacle. You get me? Never allowing it to take over your thought. Never allow problems to take over your thought. Step away, step back. View that problem from a distance. Your thoughts are your feelings are your actions. By controlling your thoughts, you control your actions. Simple. Whatever you feel in the inside is reflected on the outside. That's why you can quickly see your loved ones and give them a hug, cuddle, kisses, because that's the feeling inside you. It's transferred outside immediately. You don't need a permission. What will feel inside is what will express outside. That's the nature. That's the law. And I tell you, you can't say I don't have 15 minutes to read, or I don't have 1 hour to think 5 days a week. If you can't afford to prepare yourself for life's battle, invest in this time to learn from other people's successes, other people's failures. Learn from their mind, how to fight circumstance, how to fight crisis. Then I tell you, man, you might be 10 years down the line and you're just realizing this. Because now you have to learn from your own mistakes, which may be 10 years late and 1,000 books late. So I tell you, invest in yourself today. Invest in your mind. Read just 15 minutes a day. Just pick up something that you like, some kind of language, some kind of skill you're working on, whatever you are, invest 15 minutes in it. 15. Start with 15 minutes. Read something for 15 minutes a day. 15 minutes a day. And you know what 15 minutes a day means? You'll be reading half a book in a week. 2 books in a month. That's what just reading 15 minutes means. Regardless if you're a fast reader or slow reader, just learn. Because reading takes you to different places you could never be, puts your face in the face of different things, make you see other people's experience, learn from their failures and their success. For instance, if I never learned about Thomas Edison, how many times he tries before he invented the light bulb, I probably give up on things that are not going right for me with the first or second tries. But persistent is key in everything. Very few people succeed at the first try. By reading, by learning from other people, you learn how to stand and fight your life crisis. So imagine the cost of not preparing yourself for life challenges, not reading from other people's experience, not learning from other people's experience. This would cost you the pain. The pain of failure is bigger than the cost of success. This might come 10 years too late. 10 years too late when you're trapped in the same situation. And then that's when you turn back and blame other people. Blame your situation. There are multiple books of successful people who have failed, how they overcome it, how they turned out. They've written this to warn you, to prepare you, to help you, to guide your steps. And then you want to forgo all this. You want to forgo all this and just focus on your limited experience, in your limited field. You might be saying this, I've learned all I can. But remember, Some of you went to university to learn what other people have done, or high school to learn what other people have done. And immediately you left high school, that became the end of it. You stop learning and you start dying. They say the minute you stop learning is the minute you start dying, you start declining. So I'm begging you, I'm pleading with you today, invest 15 minutes in yourself. 15 minutes in yourself. Just like I keep saying, if you grew up where I grew up, if you came where I came up from, this is not what you do. You don't read books, you don't invest in books. It's seen as a lazy man's too. You're taught to work with your hand, be hardworking, strap yourself into a job, rely on the minimum security. But if only we were taught how to read, how to grow our mind, how to change our attitude, how to learn from other people's experience, how to build our inner self. For by reading, you understand you can never run away from your problem. It's never the best. That's because your problem is with you. Your problem is like a shadow unto you. You can never outrun your shadow. It will catch up with yourself. When you run away, it's basically you running with the same problem to a new environment. It's like a sea or a vessel on a sea. It's never the sea. There's other vessels plying that sea, plying that route. But any vessel that sinks, the problem is with the vessel, it's not the sea. So when you decide to run, you can never outrun your problem. Your problem is you. The problem is you. You fix you fix the problem. If we decide to run away rather than face our problem, where we stand and fight. When many people come up against stress, criticism, disagreement, trouble, their first impulse that comes to people is to run away from this crowd, run away from these people, quit the environment and people, in the belief that things are better someplace else, that conditions are better, are more agreeable, and that the people are much nicer on that side. They will get along more with the people. People are more friendlier in different places. And this leads to disappointment, frustration, failure in our lives. Why? Because the first thing we think about when we encounter a problem is to run. The grass is always greener far away. I was reading a book by John C. Maxwell. Well, a couple moved from some place to California into a really nice neighborhood in California, and he came upon the husband after a very short while. They're gathering the loads and the properties, trying to relocate back to where they came from. And then he asked the husband, "Why are you moving back so soon?" And then the husband said, "My wife doesn't like it here." And he persisted to ask why. He said, my wife couldn't make friends. The people here does not like my wife. They never came to invite her to join us for anything. And he just asked, have your wife made it known to these people that she would like to, join them? She would like to participate. She would like to be friends with them. So that's simple. If you want to be friends, make friends. So this is a grown woman who never actually thought if I want to be friends, I have to make friends. I have to go to these people and say to these people, I want to, what do you do? Ask question, integrate. There's another story about a family who moved to the rural settlement where they've got the Indians. And the wife as well. The husband goes to work. The wife was left at home. And after a while, she got tired. She's like, "Oh, I can't stay here anymore. I wanted to go." But just one day, a little kid went to her. A little kid went to her and just sat with her, showed her how to do some bead. This is just a bead. how to put some bead together, a little Indian kid. And from that day, she learned how to do, she helped the kid put the beads together. And after that, she walked with that kid to the families where the parents were doing the bead. She sat with them, she learned how to do beads. And from that day, she became friends. She woke up, she had things to do. She now worked with the community, doing beads, basket, all sorts of crafts. But she was ready to go before, because she sat and thought, like, I can't make friends with these people. I don't understand these people. I don't have anything in common with these people. And that's the mistake we make. So running away from our problem is not the answer. It's never the answer. The thing is, like, we see a lot of people who run away from their problem and have the discipline. For instance, take the army. For those who run away in the army, who abandon, their post because it's too difficult, or maybe instead of war, they couldn't face war, or they against whatever the army is against, and they run away. They called deserters. The deserters, or they've gone AWOL. You know that word? They say they've gone AWOL, missing in action. And these people in times of war, they get shot or court-martialed or imprisoned with hard labor. That's how dangerous, how difficult, how bad it is to run away from your problem instead of standing and fighting your problem. So why do we believe we can run away from our problem, our life? Life is the ultimate teacher, the ultimate master. So if you're not going to stand and fight and fix your problem, if an army is being court-martialed and shot, imagine how life is going to treat you for every time you come up against problem and you run. And you run. Because the problem is here, like when we run away from our problem, we're basically saying to ourselves, oh, no one is watching, no one will see, We'd rather run away, hide our head, and start fresh, a place where no one knows us. But life says, when we refuse to prepare our mind for what is to come, you get me? We should court-martial ourselves. When we set a goal and we don't complete that goal, we should court-martial ourselves. When we have a task for the day and we've done a half job, we should court-martial ourselves. Because these things are little by little, gradual. When you let things slide gradually, one day becomes two becomes three becomes a week becomes a month. Procrastination. You say to yourself, what does it matter? I haven't completed it today, I'm just going to complete it tomorrow. And from tomorrow, I'm just going to complete it the next day. No one is watching me. No one is going to know. But life is watching you. Life is an accumulation of what we do today. When you refuse to finish today's task, you're adding it to tomorrow's task. And as I've told you before, there's no one strong enough to carry yesterday's load, today's load, and tomorrow's load without breaking. It's impossible. It's impossible. You have to finish what you've started today. The word of James Allen is, it says, write as well as you can, but finish whatever you start. That's the emphasis on the finishing whatever you start. Because if you don't do that, you become a procrastinator. You let them slide gradually. And what you forget is no one gets into a position or a place by one stroke of luck, by one single action, by chance. No. You are where you are today because of the accumulation of actions in the past. Maybe it was your university degree, maybe it's your apprenticeship degree, maybe you learned how to read, maybe you learned how to learn from your master. You are where you are today based on accumulated experience in your past. And where you will be tomorrow, where you dreamed of being, that position, that place, will be based on on the accumulation of your action, which today is a key part of. For every time you procrastinate, you lose momentum, which becomes a self-appointed prolonged vacation. Every time you procrastinate, you're losing momentum. It means you have to start again. For every time you never finish today's work, it means you postponing tomorrow's work. So you prolonging your location in that place you don't like. You are voluntarily prolonging your location in that bad place, in that place you don't like, in that position you don't like, in that circumstance you want to get out of. You are constantly, intentionally prolonging your suffering for every time you procrastinate. Because when you lose momentum, you start all over again. That's why you see in sport, when people have momentum, they go. They never want to start because they say they're on the roll, they're in the zone. They use this thing a lot in sport, in the zone. So when you get in the zone, finish. You can never get in the zone and procrastinate. No, you finish. So when you start something, you must finish. If not, you will lose momentum. If you could see what you're doing to yourself, you get one of those out-of-body experience. You would say, wow, who does this to themselves? You would say, whoever does this to themselves should be called a casualty, a sick person, one who is self-centered, one who has given up on hope. But this is what you're doing to yourself every single time you procrastinate, every time you start and you never finish, every time you go to bed worrying. That's because you know you haven't completed what you should complete. But you must understand, this problem is not new. People have been doing this for years. An example of this is like maybe in the UK, in different parts of the world, in the Western world, you would see a grandpa of 60. They would withdraw themselves from the society, withdraw all their pension wherever, and then travel to places like the Philippines, the Thailand, the Vietnam, to live in midst of little young girls, to start having a new life. They run from their problem. Like in the old days, some people run into the monastery, to become monks, nuns, and whatever, to shed responsibility. They've given up hope on life, on fighting life. So some would not run anywhere because of course they can't afford to travel, they can't afford to run, but they would give up on life totally and simply exist rather than live, rather than survive, rather than flourish. They would just exist. They would exist where they are, but they would refuse to face life as life is. And you say, who are those? Who are these people? They're all around you. You see these people every day. They never prepare for life's battle, the ups and downs. They prefer to seek, security. These people are those who seek security in little things. They evade responsibilities. They refuse to face life because it is difficult. Life is difficult. No one says it was easy. Life is difficult. This will become satisfied with less than the best. They're satisfied with less than the best. These are people like, I've never eaten, or there's no food in the house. Or, no, of course I know everyone has problems, but there is some who they refuse to face life. They become satisfied with less. They refuse to confront their problems. But they follow the lines of least resistance. They always seeking protection where there are other, crab-minded people, people of negative attitude, people who want to criticize others, people who want to judge, people who want to blame, people who see the environment as their cause, their neighbors, their government, not themselves. They all see protection in that. All they want to do is seek out people to curse out other people. These are those small-minded people. They have succumbed. They have succumbed to lives. They have succumbed to life. They have succumbed to existing rather than living. They've succumbed to existing rather than living. They no longer could live life. They focus on, they're so self-centered, so self-pity. They bring all sorts of illness to them. Whatever could make them in pain, they're always in pain. I'm not saying every circumstance in the world is because those who have wished this on themselves. Boy, I know you see these people every day. There's no way you can help them out of their problem. For every problem you bring, everything you say, they always reply with yes, but. There's always yes, but, because they have given up on life. They have given up on life. Every suggestion you bring on how they could change their life is yes, but. There's always a but there. They're not ready. All they come for you is to give, take, because you could never fill them. They're like a basket. You could never satisfy them. Why? Because they are so self-centered. Their whole life is based on taking. They've given up on life. They will survive on the minimal, the minuscule, regardless of how little that thing is. They will survive on it. Why? Because they focus on the least resistant. Whatever could keep them in that comfort zone, they would survive on that. And you say, oh, wow, this is not me. Well, I have a job, I have a life, I have a house. But there's those two who seek any job, any position because of the guaranteed income. They seek any position at all because of the guaranteed income. They will never work hard to progress. No, they just seek that security. Security of guaranteed income at a very, listen to this, at a very limited, a very small expenditure of effort. If you are doing that, then you should know this is you. All you do, you seek any position at all with a guaranteed income with a very small expenditure. All you say is, well, I've done my part, pay me my money. If I do my part, I'll be taken care of. If I do my part, end of the month, I'll be paid. I know someone, I'm telling you this from a personal experience. I know someone who I myself personally paid for a house to live, paid for a training, paid for this person for 2 years training, paid for house, all the equipment. And I'm telling you this, back in Africa, this person more than 500,000 naira. After this person has been through all this training, everything, they ran back to a job where they paid 18,000 naira a month. 18,000 naira a month for someone who we have equipped with the skill, with a house to live, with a shop. They ran back to a job where they paid 18,000 naira a month. This is like, if you don't understand, this is like sending someone to school for 2 years. Going to going to university for 4 years and then returning to work in a job where you paid £3 or £2 an hour. This is how it means. Spending 4 years to study something, acquiring all the skill, maybe spending 4 years to become an accountant or a lawyer, and then retreating, to working as a cleaner in a law firm. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with a cleaner, but a cleaner hasn't trained to become an accountant or a lawyer. That's what I'm saying. So what I'm basically saying, there are those who are basically retreating where they are. They've given up hope on life. They follow the lines of least resistance. They are forever trying to dodge problems. They are forever trying to dodge difficulties. We are forever trying to run away from our problem, from the things that are uncongenial, unpleasant. Instead of letting our light shine, we hide them under the bed, under the blanket, under the basket. Peace of mind and growth does not come from running away, but from standing and fighting our problem and winning our way through. They say he who runs away would surely fight another day. But if we fight today, we'll learn from that experience. But he who keeps running away, we always get to fight another day. You just can't run away from ourselves. In the same way, we can't run away from our problems. Your problem and you are one thing. You and your problem are one. Just like a man and his shadow are one. Where he goes, the shadow follows. The shadow will always catch up with the man. A man who tries to run away from the shadow cannot run far. The shadow would always catch up with you. So therefore, your problem would always catch up with you. So if you've given up, you rely on that little minimal job because it's consistent. You do your part, they pay your part. That is you. And on the same hand, we know those courageous people. And the thing is, like, those people who have courage and those who have no courage are absolutely the same people. They have the same amount of fear. Those who take on those who have courage, who overcome fears, have the same fear as those who retreat. Yeah, we know those people who are courageous. These are not people without fear. No. Or those who go out looking for fear, for fight, oh, scare me. No. But those who, in spite of fear, in spite of the circumstance, stand face to face and come out victorious. Those who face life challenges. Those who live their best lives and come out on the other side, battle ready and experience from won battles. We go around seeking new environment, but what we really need is a new attitude towards our current environment, towards our current problem, towards our current situation, a new way to fix things, a new way to solve problems. The way out of problem, the way to overcome problem is not down to changing location, but to changing mind, changing attitude, changing belief, changing understanding. They say nothing is to be feared but to understand. To understand. And this is simple. When you don't understand something, you become afraid of it. But when you spend time to understand this thing, it becomes life as easy. It's just like when you're looking for a new location, you're driving through sat-nav and you just tentative. You don't want to take a wrong direction. But when you've plied that route over and over and now you understand it, now you can approach it with even your eyes shut because you have a better understanding. A lot of things needs to change for us, but these things are not the unfavorable condition. No, they're not the unfavorable condition we find ourselves in. No, or our environment, or the people around us, or the things that needs to change is in us. The thing that needs to change is in us. One single thing that we need to change is the attitude towards the unfavorable condition. There is always cause and effect. You change the circumstance, we must change our focus on the cause. Yes, to change the circumstance, we must change our focus on the cause, our thoughts, our belief. You get? Because without checking our circumstance, our situation, they become our consciousness, and our consciousness becomes our actions. Start by asking yourself, any thought that comes into your mind, is this thought positive? Is it constructive? Is it life-changing? Is it affirmative? If the answer is no, then force yourself to think a positive thought. Force yourself to choose. They say we choose our thoughts. That's the only thing we can control. what we think about, how we think about, all the thoughts will come into our head, that's for sure. But we choose how we act. So start choosing what you think about. Start choosing what you think about, how you express your feelings. That is up to you. The problem will be, the situation be, the circumstances will be, you cannot run away from it, just like you can't run away from your shadow, but choose your thought. They say, tune into channel P. Tune into channel P, the positive thought. When the negative one comes, block it and say, no, you go. Here, I want to be positive. I want to think about solutions. I want to think about growing. I want to think about living. I want to think about flourishing. When you make these decisions from the start, you will face any problem head on, see it from the outside, and overcome it.